Hey everybody, welcome back to the Selfie-Stick assembly part 2. And in this video we're going to look to add the stick adapter here to the top of our selfie stick. And then we're going to put the shoe bottom in place on top of in place for the stick adapter before we put in our thumb screw. So once you open up your IED Activity 213 selfie stick, the first thing we're going to want to do is put on the stick adapter, and the mate that we're going to use here is called the fastened mate because we have our sort of recessed cylinder here that we're going to set on top and recess it down on the top of the selfie stick here. So you'll turn on the fastened mate, and I'm using the right click to rotate my object and my scroll wheel to zoom in and out. So once I select fasten to activate that, I will find that center line and just select that surface area, and now I can hold down the right mouse button and reorient, and I want it down here on the bottom of my component for the top of the selfie stick, and you'll see it will recess it right in place here. And again, if you hit the wrong axis of rotation, you can actually just reverse it. So after we do that, we'll select the green check mark. And then the next thing is to add the shoe bottom. Now, let's go ahead and close this out here. The one thing that I highly recommend before you put this in place, and we're actually going to use the revolute command here in just a second, but I would left click on this shoe adapter, and I would find the way to orient this so that the shoe adapter is sticking up so it's in the right direction, and that'll become obvious, or it'll be necessary in just a second. Just in case, just a little help here. And the way to check that, let's look at the front view. Let's take that on. That's probably needs adjusted a little more. Oops, let's go to 0 degrees here. And it'll be a little less. And get that close, so 5 degrees when I brought it in. And left click just to deactivate that. Now this will help make our jobs a lot easier later on. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to use this revolute command. Remember, it'll revolve about an axis here that we want. So I'll turn it on, and I'm going to pick the right side of the shoe bottom, and I will pick that axis, and then I will zoom out, rotate around because I want to pick the right side here of that surface area, and then it'll put it in place. And I'm going to go ahead and accept that. And the reason why that was important is, let's close that out. And now what we have here is this component can actually move, and we want it to revolve. So we need to set that limit. And the way we're going to do that is if you just activate by left clicking in the browser tree on top of the revolute command that you just put in, or feature. Now you can see I have this little angle here, and it's asking me, well, you want it to revolute about this axis, but what is the angle of revolution? So if I double click, I can look, and I believe for this component it's going to be 120 degrees. Yeah, that looks about right. It'll come down, it's going to come in maybe a little less if you want. And so therefore it would make sense if I was perfectly in alignment that in the opposite direction of 120 degrees is where it would rotate. And for us, that's what we're going to do for this component. Now I see that's what I want to do. So on the revolute command, go ahead and right click and hit edit. Turn on your limits, and then under the maximum here, put in your -120 for your Z and 120 degrees. And let's look at that for a second. There we go. And we can slow that down later, but that looks pretty good. So I'm going to like that and accept that component. There we go. So that's what we have right now for the selfie stick. We went ahead and added the stick adapter and the shoe bottom using the fastened mate, and then the revolute, not revolt, but revolute. Please don't revolt. All right, check back for the video part 3, where we'll be continuing to assemble our selfie stick here.